Good day, it's Jordan Davidson again with Your Marriage Success Coaching, and I'm here to talk to you today about a game that I've been playing, actually. At least that's what brought it up. Uh, a long time ago, about 10 years ago, I started, actually more than that now, come to think of it, I was introduced to Robert Kiyosaki, who you may be familiar with from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And when Vanessa and I first got together, we started really taking a look at his stuff, and we actually took some trainings with his company, and we bought his game Cash Flow. And Cash Flow is a really interesting game that sort of teaches you how to think financially the way that supposedly rich people think. And we brought it out again and started playing it again because it's a lot of fun. And we've also since then become real devotees of David Ramsey. And you couldn't have really sort of two more opposite views from David Ramsey and Robert Kiyosaki when it comes to things like debt and mortgages and credit. However, they both have ways to get people out of the rat race if they follow their plans. One maybe is a little bit more conservative and one's maybe a little less conservative. They're both very interesting and something maybe you want to check out at some point, either of them, or don't, doesn't really matter. But the point is that what that got me thinking about is money. And money is a really big deal in your marriage. In fact, I was just looking at marriage.com and on an article by Shelley Warren, I've got it up on the screen here, on January 31st of 2018, wrote an article called The 10 Most Common Reasons for Divorce. And money, where it usually tends to sit, is on her list number 2, right behind infidelity. And that's usually where it shows up, either as 1 or 2 in most people's lists. So why is money such a big deal in your marriage, and why can it lead to divorce so easily? Really, what it comes down to is that the two people in a marriage tend to have very different views on money. Generally speaking, one will be a saver and one will be a spender. And all that does is come up with arguments and arguments and arguments. Now, you can learn to adapt your style to the other person's style, and probably a spender can learn to become more of a saver. Savers can learn to spend a little bit more. But that fundamental difference is a real bone of friction. And it is one of those perpetual problems, as John Gottman calls it, that you're going to deal with over and over and over. And honestly, it's shown up in every single couple that I have worked with as a marriage coach. One of them had one view about money and one had a different view about money, and it was driving both of them crazy. Why can't she understand that the money just isn't there? Why can't he understand that we need to upgrade our car because it's falling apart and we need to spend the money? Why can't she understand that I need new suits because I'm a businessman and I have to keep up with fashion? And why can't he understand that it's important that we have $5,000, $10,000 in the bank, or I just don't feel safe. And these kind of problems, the different attitudes that husbands and wives have about money, is it drives people to divorce. It really does. It's crazy, and there's a fairly straightforward way of dealing with it, and that you're not going to be surprised to hear me say is communication. And what it really is communication about is understanding your partner's view about money and at where it came from. What were they like when they were young? What were they exposed to? Were they wealthy? Were they middle class, below the poverty line? What did money look like for them? And when you're learning this, you're going to be building up your love maps. And if you've been hanging around me any length of time, you know that I am really huge on the love map. It's the foundation for your marriage. The bigger it is, the bigger the foundation for your marriage, the stronger the marriage you can build. So build those love maps. And the way that I want to encourage you to do this is something that Vanessa and I are just starting to do. And it's called a money date. So a money date is where you block out an evening, and this is what you do. You go over your bank accounts. You go over your budget. You create one if you haven't done one. And I'm going to put a link actually to Rachel Cruz's, it's Dave Ramsey's daughter. She has a channel, and she has a really good video on doing a budget, a really quick budget. So I'll put a link to that in the description below as well. What I would encourage you to do is you do this. You look at your bank accounts, you look at any investment accounts that you have, you look at your income, and you dream. You take a look, where are you at? What do you want to do in the next 3 months, 6 months, and a year? And you start planning those things out, and you basically have a money date. At first, I'd recommend you do it at least once a week. And after you sort of have things under control, you could probably dial it back a little bit to once every 2 weeks, then to once every month. I wouldn't go less than once a month. The idea here is that it shows you where you're at. It gives you a chance to plan for where you want to go, and it gives you a chance to discuss calmly those differences that you have in your attitudes towards money. So that is what I'm encouraging you to do this week here on our blog, video blog. I guess it's a vlog if you really want to be technical, but that's my tip for this week anyway. Again, I'm Jordan Davidson with Your Marriage Success Coaching, and I'm just wishing you that you'll have a happy, successful money date, and we'll see you again next Wednesday.